Sawasdee, thank you for joining us on Newsline. We're broadcasting live on NBT, Radio Thailand FM 88, and on NBT World. It's Tuesday, the 10th of March of 2015, and you're with me, Sandra Han Utsaha. His Majesty King Bhumibol Adulyadej on late Monday afternoon proceeded from Siriraj Hospital to observe royal projects at Jitlada Farm in the compound of Jitlada Villa. At the farm, His Majesty stopped at the demonstration rice mill and toured around an exhibition on the use of solar energy in rice milling put up inside the mill. The demonstration rice mill was established in 1971 following the royal initiative to encourage farmers to group themselves into cooperatives so that they would be strong enough to set up and run their own rice mill instead of selling their paddy at low prices to private millers. His Majesty at that time donated his own funds for the establishment of a demonstration rice mill to provide knowledge to farmers on milling techniques and appropriate ways to store various types of paddy. His Majesty later proceeded past the Suwandusit powder milk factory and a UHT milk production center before taking a rest at the solar-powered house built by the Defense Energy Department in honor of His Majesty the King on the Golden Jubilee of His Majesty's accession to the throne in 1996. His Majesty spent about an hour at the Jitlada farm before returning to Siriraj Hospital at 4:43 p.m. And we now welcome you to today's segment of Thailand Moves Forward. In our first story, according to Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, the land and building tax will not be collected anytime soon because 3 more hearings on the law's draft by the National Legislative Assembly are needed, while there will also be a lag period before the taxation takes effect. General Prayut indicated that it may be 1 to 2 more years before the new taxes are collected. He explained that the significant time requirement is due to deliberation into details of prices, urban planning, and other relevant matters. General Prayut added that he and state officials would be among those who will be taxed under the new law. The Prime Minister added that the collection of land and building tax is required in order for the state to gain additional income to offset shortfalls in revenue collection from other sources, which were attributable to tax avoidance. He noted that the avoided taxes will also be recouped at a later time. General Prayut elaborated that the government had to set an unbalanced budget with a deficit of around 200 billion baht in order for the sub-district administrative organizations to make debt repayments, the warehouse bills for mortgaged rice to be paid, the free trains and buses to keep running, and regular expenses of the state to be met. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha affirmed on Monday that the target date for bringing the entire electric train network for Greater Bangkok into service is currently being set for late 2018 or in 2019. On Monday, General Prayut presided over the launch ceremony for the tunnel boring machine that will bore under the Chao Phraya River to allow the Sanam Chai Thapra segment of the Blue Line extension to be completed. During the event, General Prayut said the entire electric train system for Greater Bangkok is expected to come into service by late 2018 or in 2019. In the meantime, the government was addressing associated hurdles in the hope of moving the service date forth. There are currently 3 electric train routes that remain to be approved by the cabinet, said General Prayut. Monday's ceremony was also attended by Transport Minister Prachin Chantong, who reaffirmed to reporters that the Purple Line electric train will be coming into service by January next year. The Blue Line extensions from Hualampong, Bangkhae, and Bang Sue Tha Phra stretch 27 kilometers and encompass 22 stations. Unlike the main segment of the Blue Line currently in service, most of the extension's railways will be located above ground. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has been granted an award by the Korean Intellectual Property Association, or KIPA, for his policy that encourages research and development in the field of science and technology in Thailand. Mr. Cho Eun-young, president of KIPA, paid a courtesy call on General Prayut in order to present to him a special prize as part of the 2014 KIPA Awards. The prize was to honor the Thai Premier as a person who is leading research policies and strategies and supports development in science, technology, and innovation. According to government spokesperson Yongyut Mayalap, the Prime Minister is devoted to pushing forward his government's R&D policy, which he sees as an integral part of the National Development Plan. On the occasion, the Premier reportedly commended South Korea for its strong research potential, which has been of much help to Thailand and other ASEAN countries. General Prayut also thanked KIPA for giving Thai inventors an opportunity to showcase their work at the Seoul International Invention Fair. He then proposed that KIPA and the National Research Council of Thailand increase their cooperation in many areas, including the exchange of related official visits, improvement of inventions for commercial purposes, and development of special economic zones in Thailand. In response, the KIPA president said, given the Premier's policy on the promotion of science and technology, he was confident Thailand's national development efforts will be successful and the people will have better living conditions. The National Reform Council has acknowledged the report from the Committee on Educational Reform, which focuses on the development of Thailand's education and human resources. The NRC sitting on Monday reviewed a report from one of its committees, which is about the strategies for educational reform and people's development. Deputy Chairman of the committee in charge of the study, Narong Putichiwin, informed the National Reform Council, or NRC, sitting about the principles and the reasons behind the report, which he said has compiled research, documents, and opinions from all parties involved. Mr. Narong added that while Thailand is entering the era of an aging society, the quality of education in the country remains mediocre, while the conditions of human resources are somewhat worrying in many ways. Therefore, he said that the development of Thailand's educational system and people must be launched to strengthen the citizens and society. The committee hopes to push the suggestions in the report to be included in the national agenda, while the NRC members have expressed their support for free scholarships for poor children. The Constitution Drafting Committee, or CDC, has presented the progress of the drafting of the new Constitution to the National Reform Council, or NRC, and a rundown of the first draft is scheduled to be presented to the reform body today. Advisor and spokesperson for the CDC, General Ratanawanit, revealed to NRC members that the CDC is now finalizing the wording of 315 sections in the new Constitution and has vested itself with the power to draft organic laws and necessary legislations, such as those relating to elections of members of Parliament, as well as the origins of senators, political parties, and electoral bodies. The CDC has, in addition, deliberated the merging of the Office of the Ombudsman and the National Human Rights Commission into a single agency as stipulated by the new charter. CDC Chairman Bawansa Uwano will present a rundown of the first draft of the Constitution to the NRC members later today. The Constitution Drafting Committee, or CDC, has denied claims that a provision in the new Constitution to establish a council to oversee national reform is a way of extending the power of the current legislature beyond its initial time frame. A 120-seat council will be established to oversee the implementation of the reform measures which are detailed in the new Constitution. Of the 120, one-half, or 60, will come from the National Reform Council, or NRC. 30 will come from the National Legislative Assembly, or NLA, and the rest will be experts on various subjects. CDC spokesperson Kamnun Sitisaman said the establishment of the new council was not meant to extend the powers of the NLA or NRC, but to serve as a transitional body that oversees the implementation of reform measures once the new constitution is in place. According to Mr. Kamnun, it is necessary that most of the members of the new council, the NRC and NLA members, given a completely new lineup, may not accurately interpret the reform provisions in the new constitution. Furthermore, the new council will be independent from the newly elected government in order to prevent potential partisan motives from distracting the reform agendas. In addition, the new council will not hold power over the new government. The Thai Rice Thailand Rice Fair is being held at Padung Krung Kasem Canal. The event was initiated by Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha to serve as a platform for good quality rice farmers from communities to be able to promote their products in Bangkok. Since there are so many products there, you might need some help in selecting which rice to buy. Listenari Wichisorasat has the story for us.
Rice is an integrative part of Thai culture that even when we eat Western foods such as fried eggs and steak, Thais are always tempted to add rice to it. The government recently held a Thai Rice Thailand Rice Fair to support the agricultural sectors in Thailand to promote their rice. If you ever stop by Padung Krung Kasem Canal next to the government house, you may see a small rice market which you can buy many types of rice at a cheaper price than in department stores. I've talked with one rice expert, Mrs. Sukhon Tuama, who knows all the details about rice in Thailand, and this is what she told NBT World. There are many types of rice to choose. For health benefits, many Thais have turned from eating Thai jasmine rice to brown rice. Brown rice goes through only one milling, so there are plenty of nutrients left in the rice compared to white rice. Brown rice also have different colors to choose from, with purple, red, and cream or brown color, each giving different nutrients to the body. Rice berries, which have a purple color, helps decrease fat in the body, increase circulation of blood, and decrease the risk of getting heart disease. Some red rice has low sugar, which lessens the chance of getting diabetes and decreases the chance of getting Alzheimer's. Brown rice with cream color has vitamin B and high levels of iron, which helps lessen high blood pressure and prevents diabetes. Despite the health benefits of brown rice, Thailand is still known for its Thai jasmine or white rice. Although there are more sugar in these rice, the softness and pleasant scent makes it a more popular choice for people who can't bear the harder texture of brown rice. Mrs. Sukhon tells NBT World that the southern part of Thailand likes to eat brown rice with a hard texture as it goes with their spicy curry, while jasmine rice is good for blender types of food like fish and vegetables. Nowadays, Thai rice is also made into different types of pasta like macaroni. Mr. Prayun Prawalapat, consultant of Pani Group, claims that pasta made out of rice are gluten-free and therefore is popular with foreigners who are gluten intolerant. Some of the rice-made pasta are also popular in Dubai. To choose the quality rice in Thailand, it is best to seek the seal of approval on the rice package, which says "Insi Mai Sai Sar Kemi 100%, which means it is 100% chemical free, or look for the label GAP, which stands for Good Agricultural Practice.
And that is the end of today's edition of Thailand Moves Forward. Before we take a quick break, here's a look at the exchange rates and commodity prices.
Maintain a strong nation, Thailand is promoting 12 core values for the good of the people. The 12 core values: putting the public and national interest before one's own.
How could you do that to me? Stop it! Huh? Don't you get it? I don't need you anymore. Enough! We're through. There's someone else in my life.
Say no to the past. Bring your own bag. Say no to plastic.
NBT World, a 24-hour English language television service operated by the National News Bureau of Thailand, or NNT, is designed to bring the most reliable information about Thailand to the international community. NBT World is available on various platforms, including via C-band set-top boxes, GMMZ Channel 202, PSI Channel 272, and a live stream on thainews.prd.go.th/newsing. You can also follow us on facebook.com/NNT News or download the PRD News EN application on your smartphones. NBT World, a vision of Thailand.
Welcome back to Newsline. The Ministry of Public Health is promoting accessibility to health services for migrant workers in an attempt to prevent disease outbreaks. The Ministry of Public Health, the number of migrant workers increases each year in Thailand. Every agency involved is urged in persuading the migrant workers to purchase a health insurance policy. This would encourage them to seek medical treatment when necessary, and as a result could prevent any cross-border diseases from spreading into Thailand. Every province has been instructed to appoint health volunteers from Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia. The volunteers will be required to obtain a correct license and undergo training so that they can work legally in Thailand. It is believed that they will help the Ministry of Public Health overcome language and cultural barriers. It should mean that migrant workers will gain better access to health information and treatment. Australia's Prime Minister Tony Abbott said on Monday that he wants to talk to Indonesia's President Joko Widodo again to appeal for clemency for 2 Australian drug smugglers on death row. The planned executions of Meuran Sukumaran, 33, and Andrew Chan, 31, have been delayed while final legal appeals are underway, Australian media reported. No date has been announced for the executions, and the usual public 72-hour notice of any execution has not been issued. Chan and Sukmuran were convicted in 2005 as the ringleaders of the so-called Bali Nine, who were arrested for trying to smuggle 8 kilograms or 18 pounds of heroin to Australia. The Australian government has stressed that Chan and Sukmuran have been rehabilitated in prison, where they have been mentored by younger inmates, and has warned of potential political repercussions if the executions go ahead. Widodo has adopted a tough stance against drug traffickers and others on death row, denying clemency appeals against the 2 mentored younger inmates. Executions in Indonesia were resumed in 2013 after a 5-year gap, and nationals from Brazil, Malawi, the Netherlands, Nigeria, and Vietnam have been among those put in front of a firing squad. The United States yesterday declared Venezuela a national security threat and ordered sanctions against 7 officials in the worst diplomatic dispute with the oil-rich country since socialist President Nicolas Maduro took office in 2013. Declaring a country a national security threat is the first step in starting a sanctions regime. The same process has been followed with countries such as Iran and Syria, U.S. officials said. President Barack Obama issued and signed the executive order, which senior administration officials said did not target the energy sector of Venezuela's broader economy. The move raises tensions between Washington and the OPEC member, just as U.S. relations with Cuba, another longtime U.S. foe in Latin America, are set to be normalized. The White House said the executive order targeted people whose actions undermined democratic processes or institutions, had committed acts of violence or abuse of human rights, were involved in prohibiting or penalizing freedom of expression, or were government officials involved in public corruption. Venezuelan Foreign Minister Delcy Rodriguez told reporters that Caracas would respond to the U.S. move soon. Suggestions that Russian politician Boris Nemtsov was killed by Chechen Islamists are nonsense, designed to deflect suspicion from President Vladimir Putin, an associate of the slain opposition figure said yesterday. Investigators have charged 2 men, including a former Chechen police official, over the shooting of Nemtsov within sight of the Kremlin walls on February 27th. 3 more men have been arrested, and another blew himself up late on Saturday, March 7th, as police in Chechnya tried to detain him, Russian media said. Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov said the charged ex-policeman Tsar Dadayev was a pious Muslim who had been angered by publication of caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad in French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo. Kadyrov, who is loyal to Putin, said he knew Dadayev and described him as a true patriot of Russia on his Contente social media page. Nemtsov had condemned an attack on Charlie Hebdo in which Islamist militants killed 12 people in January. But friends reject this as a motive, saying they do not believe Islamist gunmen acting alone could have shot him dead in one of the most closely guarded areas of central Moscow unless they had powerful and well-connected backers. Ilya Yashin, the co-leader of Nemtsov's small liberal opposition party, says the theory about Islamist motives in Nemtsov's killing suits the Kremlin and takes Putin out of the firing line. Nemtsov's associates believe it was Putin who stood to gain from his killing, though Russian officials have denied involvement, and the president has called it a shameful tragedy. And that is it for today's edition of Newsline. For any comments or suggestions, please feel free to email them to us at newsline.ndt@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook by simply typing in NNT. And you can check out our website at thainews.prd.go.th/newsing. And we say goodbye today with some footage of a wife carrying contest in the UK. I'm Sandra Han with Saha for Newsline. Have a great day. Sawadee ka.